Okay, in this video, we're going to go through the bill rate level list. So first of all, the bill rate level is available only in the Contractor, Professional Services, and Accountants edition of QuickBooks, which means you have to be in Premier or Enterprise. And then when you are in Premier or Enterprise, you have to have installed the Contractor, Professional Services edition or have purchased the Accountant edition. Okay, so bill rate level list. So if we come up to lists, we have our billing rate level list. All right, so when would we use this conceptually? First, let's talk about that. So a good example of this, what I always equate it to, is like, let's say we have a lawyer's office, right? And we have filing work that needs to be done. So in the lawyer's office, when the lawyer, themselves, let's say it's a she, when the lawyer herself does the filing work, we're going to bill her out at $350 an hour, right? Whereas if we have a paralegal doing filing work, we're going to bill them out at $250 an hour, let's say. But they're doing the same work, right? It's still the same service item, filing. It's just that when we invoice for them for that particular task, their rate is different. Okay, so the first thing that we want to make sure when we're setting up billing rates is that we have the service items set up appropriately. So I'm just going to take one of these service items and rename it filing so we can use the same example. Okay. Now I have on here a couple of bill rates, but I'm going to go ahead and set up the two that we talked about. So lawyer. Now you can do it at a fixed hourly rate, or you can do it right. So let's say every time the lawyer bills out for any service item, right? So whether it's filing, phone calls, etc., it's $350 an hour. Or you can say that they have a customized rate per service item. So maybe if they're doing site work, right, which doesn't make sense, but let's say this is going to be $500 an hour. So maybe in the example of a lawyer, if they're doing court time, maybe it's $500 an hour, but if they're doing any kind of office work, it's $350 an hour. Okay, so you can see that you can do it on a per service item basis, or you can do fixed hourly. So I'm just going to do fixed hourly for this case. So I have lawyer, and then we're going to do another one for paralegal, and they're $250 an hour. Okay. All right, so now that I have those two set up, how you assign them is you either at the vendor level. So when you come in and edit your vendors, so let's say we have 1099 vendors, we can come in here and set up their billing rate level under the payment settings here. Okay, so if they submit time to us, right, we can bill for that time and bill them at this bill rate level. With the employees, it's the same thing. You set it up at the employee level, what their bill rate level. You can also do it for the other names list, but I don't recommend that, right? You always hear me say that. Don't use that other names list. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say Marjorie Adams. And when we come down here to additional information, I can say that she's a paralegal. Okay. And then we're going to say Clark Mitchell. And Clark is a lawyer. All right, so then on our time cards, I'm just going to use a single timesheet activity for Mitchell for customer 2, and the service item is going to be filing, right? And it's going to be for 3 hours, and we're marking it billable. And then I'm going to do another single time activity for Marjorie for customer 2 again for filing. Okay. It's telling me my payroll item's not set up for that. For filing, and then, or for concrete, and I'm going to say 5 hours. All right, so now I have that set up. I come into my invoices here, and I'm going to create an invoice for customer 2, and it says, hey, you have outstanding time and costs. Do you want to add it? So I have my 2 times here. I'm going to add them. And notice, let me go ahead and make this a little bigger, right? Notice that filing comes across. It says it's $350 for the 3 hours, right, that Mitchell did, or Clark did, and then $250 an hour for the 5 hours that Marjorie did to get us our invoice to be correct. Okay. Let me go ahead and cancel out of this all. So again, the billing rate level, you want to go ahead and get those set up. If you need to edit the rates for any reason, you can come in here, right, and edit a bill rate level and change it. Notice that I can't go in and switch it now over to being on a per item basis, so I would have to make it inactive and then go in and set up a new one for a per item basis. All right, so that's bill rate levels.